here we are, another episode of Flash in the Pan. We're at the Mighty Shakers in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is kind of a continuation of our Hawaiian Luau series. Our good friend Paulie is in the house right now, and Paulie is going to have his way with the salmon. We have this gorgeous Pacific salmon right now, and this is going to be our Lomi Lomi. Now, Lomi Lomi is an interesting word because this also goes back to the Portuguese influence as they circumnavigated the world. But really, Lomi Lomi really means to massage something, okay? So it's almost like you think about an alligator étouffée, and that's a French term for smothering something. And so, you take these words that mean something different, and Hawaiian Lomi Lomi massage is well known, is well documented as something that a lot of tourists do. This is the Lomi Lomi that is going to be the luau food. So, if you watched our series at Shakers Milwaukee and Flash in the Pan, we've talked about things like scorched conch before, and we talked about doing cobia. We talked about the Colombian style of ceviches that we've actually filmed in Colombia. So there is this whole science that goes along with taking seafood and preserving it and making it just really incredibly flavored, safe to eat with the use of different acids. And every culture now has something going on, almost every culture, and they use different things. In this case, so we can use acetic acid or rice wine vinegar. We have a couple different iterations of that here. We're going to use this in this dish, and we're going to use some limes as well that are going to go into this dish. And we need about, for this, our little sample right now, somewhere around 8 or 10 ounces of the salmon. We obviously will be using the entire thing all the way down. And we're going to take this and marry this in with some onions and some Roma tomatoes. And then we've got some green onions as well. And the flavor really is just going to work itself together. If you have the opportunity to let this set up for at least an hour after it's cut and cooled in the refrigerator, that's great. If you do it the night before, it's even better. It almost takes on this kind of a creamy texture to it. It's luscious, luscious. And the thing I like about this dish is right now, see, for example, if you're watching Paul cut this, you don't have to be an expert at butchering fish or filleting fish or anything like that, because we are doing something just completely different than this than any of the cooking cuisines. So, as we cut this down, another inch or two is really great, Paul. So just cut that right there, and then we're going to take that and we're going to fry that in slightly smaller pieces than you did before. So if we have like inch by inch pieces, if we do like half-inch pieces or something, some people are going to watch and say, well, it's kind of like a poke. Well, to some degree it is like a poke because it's the same process for tuna that we're doing with this. This just happens to be this magnificent salmon. This is going to go into a mixing bowl. We're going to get our Roma tomatoes in there. We're going to get our onions in there. It's just going to be absolutely delicious. And again, I'm imposing upon Paul here, but he really loves this, because I just want to prove a point that anybody can cook, anybody can do these things. You don't have to have great experience, you don't have to have a culinary degree, you don't have to, do whatever. It's just having an affinity and a desire for food, and you have just some great results taking place right here. Looks really good. So toss it in a mixing bowl. Get this one down as well, please. I like using Roma tomatoes on this. If you want to use something else, you can certainly feel free. There's a variety of ways to cut this, and what I'm just going to do is just work my way through like this. So these also turn out to be pretty much fork size slices. So, I cut off the top first. We don't want that portion. And I'm just going to do a lateral cut or two. And again, you don't have to follow exactly what I'm doing with this, but just get these down so they're just going to be sizes pretty much like that. And this is just going to be an accent to the textures of the salmon. I think maybe one more just because. We've got a lot of salmon going on there. So you can see I turned this one a little bit differently than the first two. Size doesn't matter. Fork size, easily fits in your mouth. It's a good mouthfeel as well. Mouthfeel is so important with so many things. Just like we had a staff meeting the other day, we talked about, how your tongue is going to register different things, and it just makes a tremendous difference in how these things work together. I like using bench knives, which for some reason aren't here right now, but that's okay. So we're just going to mix these things together right here. Paul, let's take an onion while that sets up for a moment. Let's take a little red onion, and all I want you to do with your own red onion, that's your red onion, is just to cut off both of the poles like that, slice through like this. These guys are so tightly wrapped, I like to knock them, just tap, tap, tap a little bit on our bench. And then, again, the size of the cut isn't essential. I'm just going to take them just like this, straight down like this. Easy peasy. So Paul, do you feel challenged in here? You're doing okay?
Well, we're following the way you do things, so certainly there's a little challenge to it, but we're going to get it right.
Paulie and I had done a grilled cheese cooking session a while back. Was that during the pandemic or before the pandemic?
I believe it was during.
Okay. And, the intent might have been to do one or two, and we probably had, how many did we have?
We had quite a few different versions of the, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, again, anybody who eats or cooks, and that should be everybody, frankly, will understand that there's a synergy between tomatoes and onions, right? And there's a synergy between tomatoes and salmon as well, whether you're doing an Italian style or almost anything, it doesn't matter. It really works well together. And then, of course, you introduce the lovely onion, and you've got something going on, which is just incredibly fun. Cass, could I have some green onions? Thank you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get my onions and your onions and put them in here, merge them together with our lovely salmon and tomato. Green onions. Way misunderstood in so many ways. Again, used in many cultures, they are phenomenal. Big flavors. And all I'm going to do, and again, we teach this all the time here, is make a bridge with your hand like that. You want to keep your fingertips on. So we're just going to kind of go like that, and we're just going to slice through. For you, my friend. So I am a proponent of using the entire green onion, chive, leek, whatever I have to work with. I know there's a lot of people that are kind of snobby and just want to use either the green or the white portion, and they don't want them to mix, and I think that's just kind of silly because this is such a beautiful product. So I'm just going to take this down and toss this along with that. And when you get yours knocked out, that's going to go all in the same place. Then we're going to take some of our vinegars here. And it doesn't have to be these brands. It can be almost any type of rice wine vinegar that you got. Just some great flavors going to go on with this. Cass, could you find us some limes?
Lime to the right, chef.
That thing snuck up on me right there. So the other thing that we always teach people is that you take the lime or the lemon and you roll them first. When you roll them, that kind of separates the membrane and it gives you great big flavors. And we're going to cut these, so, pole to pole, cut them right through there. And what I like to do with this, and you can do anything you like, we have actual citrus presses in house too, but you can just use a pair of tongs, put your tongue right there, and just kind of squeeze like that. And this is actually very therapeutic, and that's one of the things I like about cooking. It's not the madness of pounding out orders on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night. It's just the fact that you can create some really cool things just so easily and readily. And this is therapy for me. Cutting things is therapy. Juicing things is therapy. It's really fun. And it really helps you get some really cool things. It's not want to be like a one-dimensional. We talk about how so often in Cajun cuisine, things are just hot because people don't understand how spices work, right? Especially in the North. But the reality is that you can get so much balance and you can coax so much flavor out of things with the simple addition of lime, or sometimes we just use the zest of an orange or a grapefruit, and it really gives a different complexion dish you otherwise wouldn't get. So now it's time to get some of our vinegar in there as well. It's probably going to be about 1.5 ounces worth of that one. And about the same amount of this one. Again, the actual manufacturer doesn't matter. What matters is that we do have the acid and we're going to get everything to move around here. Again, Lomi Lomi means to massage, right? I am a big advocate to use your hands. Every time you walk in my kitchen, you wash your hands. Throughout every shift, you wash your hands. You come into my house to make something with me, you wash your hands. So here we are, massaging Lomi Lomi, massaging the salmon. Now, again, you can't on camera understand what I'm talking about. This smells just utterly divine, doesn't it?
It smells fantastic.
All by itself. There's no big spices on here, there's no chili, there's none of that, and it's not cooked. So what we're gonna do with this now, we could eat it right now, like a poke, or if we just let this sit up for a little while, it's going to be exquisite. If you're to make this the night before, like we're going to for tomorrow, for that massive luau we have going on, it's just going to knock people out with the flavors. If you think about this as being a raw fish, you're going to turn your nose up at it, but if you think about this in the same context as like a sashimi or sushi, and then you just close your eyes and enjoy the flavors, you'll be hooked on this. Marvelous. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any comments, please get back to us, shakersinmilwaukee@gmail.com. We have much more coming up, and hope you stick around. Cheers.